Smoke still clung to the boy's hoodie like a second skin. Not the warm kind of smoke from cooking. The sharp kind that stung your nose and stayed in your hair even after you ran. He stood under the bright glow of a streetlight beside a busy avenue, holding a thin plastic bag with two things inside, a half-melted candy bar and a school notebook with a blackened corner. His sneakers were wet from someone else's spilled drink. His hand shook, but not from cold alone. Across from him, near the glass entrance of a tall building, a woman in a pale coat had both hands pressed to her face. She wasn't hiding. She was trying to keep herself together and failing. People walked past her like she was part of the architecture. A security guard glanced once and looked away. A man on a phone stepped around her without breaking his sentence. Her breath came in small, ugly bursts like she was choking on something you couldn't see. She looked expensive. Hair done. Nails perfect. Watch glinting under the lights. The kind of person strangers called ma'am with extra respect. And yet she was crying so hard her shoulders jerked. The boy took a step, then stopped. He had learned not to approach adults. Adults had rules. Adults had moods. Adults had hands that pushed you away without touching you. But something about the way she cried hit him in the chest, like a door slamming inside his ribs. He walked closer anyway. He stopped at a safe distance, where he could still run if he had to. His voice came out small, careful, almost polite. "Can I hug you?" The woman froze mid-sob, like the sound had snapped a thread. She lowered her hand slowly. Her eyes were red. Her face was tight with shock, like she couldn't believe someone had spoken to her in the middle of her breaking. "What?" she whispered. The boy swallowed. His throat hurt. Everything hurt. But he tried again, clearer this time. "Can I hug you?" he said. "You're crying like you can't breathe." The woman stared at him. He was a homeless boy. At least that's what he looked like. Dirty cuffs, too thin hoodie, a backpack with one strap tied in a knot, a face that had learned to watch more than it talked. And he was asking her for permission to do the one thing nobody else had offered. Her mouth opened and closed. I don't," she started. Then her voice cracked, and she pressed a fist to her lips. The boy lifted his shoulders in a small shrug, like he was trying to pretend it didn't matter. "It's okay if you don't want," he said quickly. I saw you and I." The woman's eyes flicked over him, taking in the plastic bag, the notebook, the soot smudge near his sleeve. "You smell like smoke," she said, like the words slipped out before she could stop them. The boy's jaw tightened. He looked down at his hands. "Yeah," he said quietly. The woman stared at him a moment longer. Then something in her face softened. Not pity, not the usual look people gave, but recognition of pain in a different shape. She crouched down slowly, careful not to startle him. "What's your name?" she asked. The boy hesitated like names were currency. "Milo," he said. "Milo," she repeated gently. "I'm Elena." He blinked, then squinted at her face like he was checking memory against reality. "You're the lady from the billboards," he said. Elena flinched. "Please don't call me that." Milo nodded once, accepting the boundary without argument. Elena's voice came softer. "Why are you out here, Milo?" Milo shrugged, but it wasn't casual. It was a shrug built to hide panic. "Because I don't have it inside right now," he said. Elena's throat tightened. Milo glanced at her eyes and added, almost apologetic, "But you were crying, so can I hug you or not?" Elena stared at him. Then she did something she hadn't done with anyone in a long time. She said the truth. "Yes," she whispered. "Please." Milo stepped forward and wrapped his arms around her. He was smaller than she expected. Light, like if you squeezed too hard you'd break him. His hoodie was damp at the shoulders, and the smoke smell rose stronger when Elena's face pressed against it. Elena's breath caught, then poured out of her in one long shudder. She held him gently, like she didn't trust her own body not to collapse. For a few seconds, in the cold neon light, the millionaire hugged the homeless boy while the city kept moving around them like nothing unusual was happening. Milo patted her back once, awkwardly, the way kids do when they haven't been hugged properly in a long time. Then he pulled back just enough to look up at her. "You're crying for real," he said matter of fact. "Not the fake kind." Elena laughed once, sharp and broken, and it turned into another sob. "I don't know how to stop," she admitted. Milo studied her face with a serious expression that didn't match his age. "My mom says," he stopped. His eyes dropped. Elena's heart clenched. "What?" she asked softly. Milo swallowed hard. "She said when you can't stop crying, it means your heart is trying to tell you something your mouth won't." Elena stared at him. The word mom in his mouth sounded fragile, like a glass on the edge of a table. Elena's voice dropped. "Where's your mom, Milo?" Milo's fingers tightened on the plastic bag until it crinkled. "I don't know," he said. Elena's stomach sank. Milo took a quick breath like he was forcing his chest to behave. "I was with her," he said. "Then there was fire. Then there was noise. And people. And running." Elena's eyes widened. Milo looked away, embarrassed by his own shaking. "I tried to stay," he whispered. "But the stairs were full of smoke, and somebody yelled, and my mom pushed me and said go, go. Go like it was the only word she had." Elena felt her own tears pause, replaced by something colder. "How long ago?" she asked. Milo hesitated. "2 nights," he said. "Maybe 3. My head is. I don't know. It's like everything is loud even when it's quiet." Elena pressed a hand to her chest. "Milo, have you talked to anyone? Fire department? A hospital? A shelter?" Milo's lips tightened. "I tried," he said. "But people ask questions, and then they look at you like you're lying. And I don't have grown-ups with me. So they just tell you to go over there, then over there, like you're a piece of paper." Elena's throat burned. "Do you have a phone?" she asked. Milo pulled a small device from his pocket. The screen was cracked and black. "It died," he said. "I can't charge it." Elena glanced toward the building behind her. "We can charge it," she said quickly. Milo stepped back half a step, suspicion flickering. Elena saw it and slowed her voice. "I'm not asking you to come inside because I want anything," she said. "I just want you to be safe for a minute. You can leave any time you want." Milo watched her carefully, like he was deciding whether her kindness had teeth. "People inside buildings like this," he said slowly. "They don't like kids like me." Elena's eyes flashed. "Then they'll learn," she said. Milo blinked at the firmness in her voice. Elena stood up and offered her hand, palm open, not grabbing. Milo stared at her hand like it was a test. Then he didn't take it. He just nodded once. "I'll walk," he said. "But if someone touches me, I'm gone." Elena swallowed. "Okay," she said. "No one touches you." She turned toward the glass doors. A security guard stiffened when he saw Milo. "Elena," he started. Elena didn't even slow down. "He's with me," she said, and the words carried the kind of authority that made people move without understanding why. The guard hesitated, then stepped aside. Inside, the lobby was warm, polished, and quiet. Everything gleamed as if it had never been used. Milo stepped onto the shiny floor and immediately froze, staring down at his wet sneakers. "It's gonna leave marks," he muttered. Elena glanced at the floor, then back at him. "It's a floor," she said softly. "It can handle marks." Milo looked up at her, surprised, then followed. They rode an elevator to Elena's private office level. The doors opened into soft carpet and muted lights. A hallway that smelled faintly like expensive soap. Milo walked carefully, eyes scanning corners like he expected someone to jump out and accuse him of stealing oxygen. Elena led him into her office suite. The city spread out beyond the windows in a glittering grid. Milo stopped at the glass and stared down. "That's a lot of lights," he whispered. "But nobody can see you if you're under them." Elena's throat tightened again. A man's voice cut in from behind them. "Elena." Elena turned. Her assistant, Caleb, stood in the doorway, suit jacket still on, phone in hand, eyes sharp with urgency. "We've been calling you," he said. "The board meeting is waiting. The vote." He stopped when he saw Milo. His face changed instantly, the professional mask tightening. "Elena," he said quietly, carefully. "Who is that?" Elena stepped slightly in front of Milo, without thinking. "This is Milo," she said. "He needs help." Caleb's eyes flicked over Milo's clothes, his backpack, the soot smudge. "Is he?" Caleb started, then paused, choosing safer words. "Is he okay?" Milo's jaw tightened. Elena answered calmly. "There was an apartment fire," she said. "He can't find his mother. His phone is dead." Caleb's mouth tightened. "We can call authorities," he said. Milo's shoulders rose. "No," Milo said quickly. "No cops. No." Elena held up a hand toward Milo, a silent signal that she heard him. Then she looked at Caleb. "Not cops," she said. "Not unless Milo agrees. We'll call a youth outreach worker." Caleb blinked. "Elena, the board." "I know," Elena cut in. Her voice softened suddenly, and you could hear the crack in it. "I just walked out of a meeting where I was told my life is a liability," she said. "I'm not going to treat a child like one." Caleb stared at her, thrown off balance by her tone. "Elena," he said, lowering his voice, "this is not the time for unpredictable situations." Elena looked at him, eyes wet but steady. "This is exactly the time," she said. Caleb inhaled slowly, then nodded once, resigned. "I'll delay the board," he said. 10 minutes. That's the best I can do." Elena nodded. "Thank you." When Caleb stepped out, Milo exhaled like he'd been holding his breath since the elevator. Elena turned to him. "We'll charge your phone," she said, "and then we'll make a plan." Milo's eyes narrowed. "A plan is usually where someone else decides stuff," he said. Elena swallowed. "Then we'll make a plan together," she said. Milo didn't answer, but his shoulders lowered a fraction. Elena found a charging cable in a drawer. Her hand shook as she plugged it in. Milo hovered close, watching the dead screen like it was a sleeping animal. When the phone finally lit up with a low battery symbol, Milo's breath hitched. "There," Elena said softly. "Okay, it's waking up." Milo stared at the screen, then at Elena. "You're really letting me charge it," he said, like he needed to hear it out loud. Elena nodded. "Yes." Milo's voice turned small. "I only know one number," he admitted. "I wrote it on paper, but it got wet. I can't read some of it." Elena's chest tightened. "Who is it?" she asked gently. "A family member? A neighbor?" Milo swallowed. "My mom's friend," he said. "She works at the corner clinic sometimes. Her name is Ms. Joe." Elena nodded. "Okay," she said. "We'll figure it out." Milo's gaze sharpened, and he lifted a finger like he was laying down a rule. "But don't call without me," he said. "I have to talk." Elena nodded immediately. "That's fair," she said. "You should talk." Milo watched her for a moment, then nodded once, accepting that she didn't argue. Caleb returned, tense. "Elena," he said. "They're holding. You have to get on now." Elena looked at Milo, then at the screen of her office computer, already glowing with messages and demands. Her stomach knotted. She turned back to Milo. "I have to take a call," she said. "But I'm right here. You're safe here." "Okay." Milo's eyes narrowed. "People say right here, and then disappear," he said quietly. Elena felt shame flicker. "I won't disappear," she said. 10 minutes. Milo nodded, but his fingers tightened on the phone. Elena stepped into the glass conference room attached to her office and joined the board call. Faces appeared on the screen. Men and women with controlled expressions, voices like polished stone. "Elena," one of them said sharply. "Where have you been?" Elena sat down, keeping her voice steady. "I needed a moment," she said. "A moment," another voice repeated with thin contempt. "We don't pay you for moments." Elena's jaw tightened. They talked numbers. They talked optics. They talked about her instability, about an acquisition that had gone wrong, about how the market didn't like uncertainty. Elena answered. Elena defended. Elena negotiated. But as they spoke, she kept glancing through the glass at Milo. He sat on the carpet near the window, phone in his hands, shoulders hunched. Every so often he lifted the device closer to his ear, as if he expected it to ring with his mother's voice. Elena felt her chest ache. She had been crying outside because the board had threatened to remove her from the company she'd built. She had been crying because she had realized she could win 1,000 battles and still go home to a silent apartment where nobody asked her how her day went. And now this boy, with smoke in his clothes and fear in his bones, was waiting for a phone to breathe. The board call ended with a threat wrapped in politeness. "We'll reconvene tomorrow," the chairperson said, "if you can demonstrate focus." Elena ended the call and stepped out. Milo looked up immediately. "You're back," he said, like he was surprised. Elena swallowed. "I'm here," she said. Milo stared at her face. "You look like you got yelled at," he said. Elena let out a small, humorless laugh. "That's accurate," she admitted. Milo looked at his phone. "It has 1%, he said, voice tight. Elena moved quickly, opening a drawer for a portable battery pack. She handed it to him. Milo hesitated, then took it with both hands. "Okay," Elena said gently. "Let's solve the number." Milo pulled out a piece of paper from his pocket, folded and damp. Ink had bled. He smoothed it carefully on the desk like it was fragile. "See," he said, "the middle part is gone." Elena leaned in. She didn't touch the paper without asking. "Can I?" she asked softly, gesturing. Milo paused, then nodded. Elena looked closely. Some digits were clear. Some were smudged. But Elena had dealt with messy information her whole life. Patterns, missing pieces, context. She also knew the area code of the neighborhood Milo mentioned because she had driven through it for charity events and photo ops and quick speeches. The kind of things she'd done and then forgotten. Elena wrote possible combinations on a notepad. Milo watched, tense. "If you call wrong," he whispered, "they might pick up and get mad. And then I won't have anyone." Elena's heart tightened. "We'll be careful," she said. "We'll try the most likely one first." Milo's finger hovered over the call button. Elena didn't take the phone. She didn't press it. She just nodded at him. "When you're ready," she said. Milo swallowed hard and pressed call. It rang. Once, twice, 3 times. No answer. Milo's breath hitched. He ended the call quickly, panic rising. "Again," Elena said softly. "Try again. Sometimes people are busy." Milo stared at the screen, then tried again. Ring. Ring. Voicemail. The recorded voice said the mailbox was full. Milo's face went blank in a way that scared Elena more than tears would have. He stared at the screen like it had betrayed him. Elena's throat tightened. "Milo," she said gently. "It doesn't mean she's gone. It just means the mailbox is full." Milo's jaw clenched, and his eyes filled suddenly, fast. "Everybody's mailbox is full," he whispered bitterly. "Nobody has room." The words hit Elena like a punch. She reached out instinctively, then stopped herself. "Can I sit near you?" she asked instead. Milo nodded, eyes wet. Elena sat on the carpet too, ignoring the expensive office behind her. For a moment they just breathed. Then Milo spoke, voice cracking. "When the fire started," he said, "my mom was yelling at me to get my shoes. Like shoes mattered more than smoke. She was trying to make things normal. Like if she made me put shoes on, the fire would listen." Elena swallowed hard. Milo's hands shook as he held the phone. "There was this sound," he whispered, "like popping. And the hallway was orange. And my mom grabbed my face and said, 'Listen, listen.' And then she pushed me toward the stairs. I fell. And when I got up, I couldn't see her. Just smoke." Elena's eyes burned. Milo blinked hard. Anger and fear tangled. "And then outside," he said, "people were screaming and pointing, and somebody put a blanket on me, but it wasn't my blanket, and I didn't know where to stand. And then I saw a man carrying a baby, and I thought, if I don't run, someone's going to tell me to go somewhere, and I won't find my mom." Elena's voice came out tight. "So you ran?" she whispered. Milo nodded, eyes fixed on the floor. "I ran," he admitted, "and then I couldn't go back in." Elena's mind raced, trying to build a realistic path forward. "Do you remember the building name?" she asked. Milo hesitated. "It had a number," he said, "and a sign that was missing 2 letters." Elena nodded, patient. What street? Milo named it quietly. Elena's heart tightened. That neighborhood wasn't far. We can go there, she said. Milo's head snapped up. Now. Elena nodded. Now, she said. But only if you want. And we do it safely. Milo stared at her, suspicion flickering again. Why would you do that? He asked, voice low. You don't know me. Elena swallowed, then answered honestly. Because you hugged me when nobody else did, she said. And because I don't want to be the kind of person who keeps walking. Milo watched her for a long beat. Then he nodded once, like he was making a decision. Okay, he whispered. Caleb returned again, more anxious now. Elena, he said. There are reporters downstairs. Someone saw you come in with a child. They're asking questions. Elena's jaw tightened. Then we used the private exit, she said. Caleb stared. You're leaving? He asked. Elena looked at Milo. Yes, she said. I'm leaving. Caleb exhaled sharply. Elena, this is. Elena cut him off. Caleb, she said quietly. I built my life around making sure no one could ever accuse me of being careless. And look where it got me. Crying on a sidewalk. Caleb's face tightened, but he nodded once, seeing something in her tone he didn't recognize. I'll get the car, he said. They left through a back corridor and down a service elevator. Milo stiffened at the harsh lighting and the smell of cleaning chemicals. Elena noticed. You okay? She asked softly. Milo nodded, but his eyes were sharp. This is where people don't want you, he muttered. Elena's throat tightened. Not today, she said. Today you're coming with me. They got into a car with warm seats. Milo sat rigid, hands in his lap, like he didn't trust comfort. As they drove, the city changed outside the windows. Tall buildings gave way to older blocks. Stores with flickering signs. Streets with potholes and patched sidewalks. Milo stared hard at the passing scenery, jaw clenched like he was bracing for impact. When they reached the street he named, Milo leaned forward. That's it, he whispered. The building stood there, or what was left of it. The front windows were boarded. A dark stain climbed the brick like a bruise. Yellow tape stretched across the entrance. The air still smelled faintly burnt. Milo's breathing went shallow. Elena parked nearby and turned to him. Listen, she said gently. We don't cross tape. We don't get in the way. We find someone official who can tell us where people were taken. Okay. Milo nodded stiffly, eyes fixed on the building like it might open and spit out answers. They walked up the sidewalk. Milo stopped short when he saw the tape. His fists clenched. My mom was right there, he whispered, voice tight. Right there. Elena's heart clenched. A uniformed fire inspector was standing near the entrance, talking to someone with a clipboard. Elena approached carefully, keeping Milo slightly behind her, but not hiding him. Excuse me, Elena said. I'm sorry to bother you. This boy, he was displaced from this building in the fire. He's trying to locate his mother. The inspector glanced at Elena, then down at Milo. His expression softened a little. Kid, he said gently, what's your mom's name? Milo opened his mouth, then froze. His throat worked like the words were stuck. Elena waited, not filling the silence. Milo finally whispered the name. The inspector nodded slowly. Okay, he said. We can check the list of transported residents. But I need more details, apartment number, anything. Milo shook his head, panic rising. I don't know, he said. I don't know the number. We had the top floor, but not all the way. The door had a scratch like a cat did it. The inspector's face tightened with sympathy. Elena felt her own frustration surge. This was the problem with chaos. Details vanished when you needed them. But then Milo blurted, voice shaking. The neighbor had a loud clock. It was always ticking. And there was a lady with purple hair who smoked on the stairs. The inspector blinked, then nodded. That helps, he said. Purple hair lady is apartment 4B. Your place might be 4A or 4C. Milo's eyes widened. You know her. The inspector gave a small smile. I know the building, he said. Now, kid, your mom. Was she taken by ambulance? Milo's eyes flashed with fear. I don't know, he whispered. Elena swallowed hard, then asked, "Is there a transport log?" The inspector nodded. "There is," he said, "but names sometimes get misspelled. We'll try." He stepped aside to check his paperwork and radio someone. Milo stood very still, like if he moved, he'd break. Elena stayed beside him, not touching. Minutes crawled. Then the inspector turned back. "I have a hospital list," he said gently. 2 local hospitals took residents. Some were treated on site. Some left with family. Milo's face tightened. "Which hospital?" he asked quickly. The inspector named the first. Milo's breath hitched. "That one is far," he whispered, like distance meant danger. Elena nodded. "We'll go," she said immediately. The inspector hesitated. "Ma'am," he said, glancing at Elena's coat, "we can also connect you with a family reunification desk. It's set up for events like this." Elena nodded. "Please," she said, "give us everything." They took the information and got back into the car. As they drove, Milo's voice went small again. "What if she's not there?" he whispered. Elena's chest tightened. "Then we keep going," she said. "We don't stop at the first no." Milo stared out the window, blinking fast. "I left her," he whispered, voice full of shame. "I ran." Elena's throat burned. "You didn't leave her," she said firmly. "You survived. She pushed you out. She wanted you alive." Milo's jaw tightened. "But what if she thinks I didn't come back?" he whispered. "What if she thinks I didn't try?" Elena swallowed. "Then we'll tell her the truth," she said. "And we'll tell her you've been trying every day." They reached the hospital, bright and busy, doors sliding open with cold air and antiseptic smell. Milo stiffened immediately. He hated hospitals. Hospitals meant waiting rooms and bad news and adults talking over your head. Elena leaned down slightly. "I'm here," she said softly. "We ask. We listen. We don't panic." Milo nodded, but his hands shook. At the front desk, Elena explained carefully. No brand names. No special demands. Just a request. The nurse at the desk looked at Milo, then at Elena, cautious. "Is he your son?" she asked. Milo flinched. Elena didn't rush. She didn't lie quickly to make it easier. She said, "No. I'm helping him find his mother." The nurse's face softened a fraction. "We can't give out patient information," she said. Elena nodded. "I understand," she said. "Is there a reunification desk? A social worker? Someone who can help a minor locate a displaced parent after a fire?" The nurse hesitated, then nodded slowly. "Wait here," she said. Milo stood so rigid he looked like he was holding himself together with thread. Elena sat beside him in the waiting area. Across the room, a television played silently. A vending machine hummed. Milo stared at the doors that led deeper into the hospital, like he expected his mother to walk out any second. Elena watched his face and felt something shift inside her again, something about how helpless money was in moments like this. A social worker arrived a few minutes later, a woman with tired eyes and a steady voice. "I'm Nora," she said. "What's going on?" Milo's throat locked again. Elena spoke gently, careful to keep Milo involved. "This is Milo," Elena said. "He was displaced in an apartment fire. He hasn't been able to locate his mother. His phone died. He's been trying on his own." Nora looked at Milo, then crouched slightly to his level without invading. "Hi, Milo," she said. "I'm not here to take you anywhere without telling you. I'm here to help you find your mom." "Okay." Milo stared at her, suspicious. Nora didn't push. She just waited. Milo finally whispered his mother's name again. Nora nodded and stepped to the side to check the system with the nurse. Elena watched Nora's hands move fast but controlled. This woman had done this before. Milo's breathing grew shallow. Elena leaned slightly closer. "Whatever happens," she whispered, "we handle it one step at a time." Milo didn't look at her. "I'm scared," he whispered, voice cracking. Elena's eyes burned. "I know," she said. A moment later, Nora returned. Her expression was careful. Elena's stomach dropped before Nora even spoke. "Milo," Nora said gently, "your mom is here." Milo's head snapped up like lightning, but Nora continued softly. She's an observation. She had smoke inhalation. She's stable. She's tired. Milo's whole face crumpled, relief and fear crashing into each other. She's alive, he whispered, like he didn't trust the word. Nora nodded. She's alive, she said. Milo's breath broke out of him, half-sob. He pressed both hands to his face, shaking. Elena's eyes flooded again. Milo looked up suddenly, panic returning. Can I see her? He begged. Nora nodded, but raised a hand. We have to do it properly, she said. We need to confirm identity and make sure she's able to receive visitors. And, Milo, I need you to stay calm. She might look different right now. Tubes, oxygen. It's not scary, but it can feel scary. Milo swallowed hard, nodding rapidly. Elena stood. I'll stay back, she said immediately. This should be him. Milo turned to her sharply. No, he whispered, surprising her. Don't leave. Elena froze. Milo's eyes were wet and fierce. You said you wouldn't disappear, he said, voice trembling. Don't disappear now. Elena's throat tightened painfully. I'm not disappearing, she promised. I'm right here. I'll stand behind you. I won't take the moment. I'll just be present. Milo nodded, swallowing hard, and Nora led them down a hallway. The hospital corridor smelled like disinfectant and something faintly metallic. As they approached the room, Milo slowed, breathing shallow. Nora stopped and spoke quietly. Milo, she said, before we go in, do you want a hug again, or do you want space? Milo blinked, startled by the question. Then he whispered, no hug, just stay. Nora nodded. They entered. Milo's mother lay in the bed, an oxygen mask over her face, hair messy, skin pale but alive. Her eyes were closed. Milo stood in the doorway, frozen. For a second, he looked like he might run. Then his mother's eyelids fluttered open. She turned her head slightly, and the moment her eyes found Milo, something broke across her face. Relief so sharp it almost looked like pain. Milo, she rasped, voice thin through the mask. Milo stepped forward quickly, then stopped short, unsure what he was allowed to do. His mother lifted a trembling hand. Milo grabbed it carefully, like he was holding something sacred. I'm here, he whispered. I'm here. His mother's eyes filled. I thought, she started, voice catching. I thought I lost you. Milo shook his head fast, tears spilling. I tried, he whispered. I tried to come back, but there was smoke and tape and I couldn't. His mother squeezed his hand weakly. You listened, she whispered. You lived. That's what I needed you to do. Milo's shoulders shook hard as he leaned forward, pressing his forehead gently against her hand. Elena stood behind him, silent, throat burning, realizing she was witnessing something money couldn't manufacture. Milo's mother's eyes flicked up and landed on Elena for the first time. She frowned slightly, confused. Milo sniffed and wiped his face with his sleeve. This is Elena, he whispered. She helped me. She let me charge my phone and she came here. His mother stared at Elena with exhausted suspicion, the way any mother would, protective even while weak. Elena stepped forward just a fraction and spoke softly. I'm glad you're alive, Elena said. He's been so scared. Milo's mother watched her carefully, then whispered, Thank you. It was a simple thank you, but it hit Elena harder than applause ever had. Nora cleared her throat gently. We should give her rest, she said. Milo, we can come back soon. Milo's face tightened. I don't want to leave, he whispered. His mother squeezed his hand again. You'll be back, she whispered. And you'll eat something. You look like a ghost. Milo let out a wet laugh through tears. Nora guided Milo out slowly. In the hallway, Milo turned suddenly and looked at Elena, eyes wild with emotion. You see, he whispered urgently, this is why I didn't need money. I needed to find her. Elena's throat tightened. She nodded. You were right, she said. Milo swallowed hard, then said something that forced a new kind of question into the air. I'm not homeless because I'm nobody, he whispered. I'm homeless because everything burned. Elena's chest tightened painfully. And now the story wasn't just about a hug. It was about what happens after you find the person you were desperate to find. Because finding his mother did not magically rebuild an apartment. It did not replace documents, clothes, money, stability. It did not erase the fear Milo carried in his ribs. And it did not erase the fact that Elena's world and Milo's world had collided, right in the moment Elena had been at her lowest. Nora led them back to the waiting area to talk practical steps. "Milo," Nora said gently, "your mom will likely stay overnight. We need a safe place for you tonight. Do you have family? A trusted adult?" Milo's face tightened. "No," he said. "Just her." Nora nodded. "Okay," she said. "Then we arrange emergency placement. It can be temporary. It can be a youth shelter that's safer than the ones you've seen, or a vetted family setting." Milo's shoulders rose. "I don't want shelters," he said quickly. "They lock things. They treat you like you're bad." Nora's eyes softened. "I hear you," she said. "We'll do our best to place you somewhere calm. But we can't have you sleeping in a lobby." Milo's eyes flicked to Elena. Elena's stomach tightened. She felt the old instinct surge, solve it, control it, pull him into her world and make it safe by force. She opened her mouth. And then she remembered Milo's earlier rule. "Don't decide stuff without me." Elena swallowed, then asked instead, "Milo, what would feel safest to you tonight?" Milo hesitated, then whispered, "Somewhere I can leave if I have to." Nora nodded. "That's reasonable," she said. "We'll choose accordingly." Elena leaned forward slightly. "Can I be part of this process?" she asked Nora. "Not to take over, just to support." Nora studied Elena for a long beat, reading her like a file. Then she nodded slowly. "Yes," she said, "but it has to be healthy. Milo doesn't need a powerful stranger making this about herself." Elena's throat tightened. "I understand," she said. Nora's gaze stayed steady. "Do you?" she asked softly. Elena swallowed. "I'm learning," she admitted. Milo watched the exchange, silent, absorbing. That night, Milo did not go back to the street. Nora arranged a temporary placement with a small family who worked with youth crisis situations. Calm apartment, clear rules, no yelling, no grabbing. The kind of place that didn't feel like punishment. Elena drove Milo there, with Nora's permission, while Caleb followed in another car, tense and uncertain. In the car, Milo stared out the window. "You're a millionaire," he said suddenly, as if the word tasted strange. Elena's stomach tightened. "That's what people say," she replied carefully. Milo frowned. "Does it fix stuff?" he asked. "Being that?" Elena hesitated, then answered with the truth. "It fixes some things," she said, "but it doesn't fix the part inside you that hurts." Milo nodded slowly, like that made sense. Then he asked a question that cut deeper. "Why were you crying?" he asked. Elena's hands tightened on the steering wheel. She could have given a clean answer, a safe answer, but Milo had hugged her. Milo had seen her raw. So Elena spoke carefully. "I was crying because I thought I was about to lose everything I built," she said, "and because I realized I built it in a way that left me alone." Milo's eyes narrowed. "Like no friends?" he asked. Elena swallowed. "Like no one who would hug me," she said. Milo stared at her, then looked away. "That's sad," he muttered. Elena's throat tightened. "It is," she admitted. They arrived at the temporary home. The foster woman, calm and kind, introduced herself without fake cheerfulness. The apartment smelled like soup. Milo stood near the door like he didn't trust the warmth. Elena crouched slightly to him, careful with space. "I'll see you tomorrow," she said softly, "if you want." Milo's eyes flicked up. "You'll come?" he asked. Elena nodded. "I'll come," she promised. Milo swallowed. "Don't promise if you're going to be busy," he said, voice sharp with fear. "Busy people don't show up." Elena felt the words like a bruise. She nodded slowly. "Then I'll show up," she said, "even if I'm busy." Milo stared at her for a long moment. Then quietly he asked, "Can I hug you again?" Elena's eyes burned. "Yes," she whispered. Milo hugged her quickly, tight and fierce. then stepped back as if he was embarrassed by needing it. Elena stood and left. In the car, Caleb finally spoke, voice tight. "Elena," he said, "this is going to get out." Elena stared ahead. "I know," she said. Caleb's jaw clenched. "The board will see this as instability," he warned. Elena's throat tightened, and you could hear the old fear trying to rise. Then she said quietly, "Maybe my old stability was just emptiness with a schedule." Caleb didn't answer. The next day, Elena showed up. She showed up again the day after that. Not with cameras, not with announcements, not with grand gifts. She brought simple things: food, a clean charger, a notebook for Milo, a small bag of toiletries approved by Nora. And she always asked Milo first. "Is this okay?" she'd say. And Milo would nod or shake his head, learning that his no mattered. For a while, things almost seemed like they might settle. Milo's mother recovered slowly. She was released, but with nowhere to go. Their apartment was unlivable. Their documents were gone. Their routine had been burned out of existence. Nora worked on emergency housing. Elena offered resources, but carefully, through Nora, not directly, trying to respect the process. Milo stayed in temporary placement, visiting his mother daily. And Elena kept trying to be present. But then came the boundary. It came from Milo's mother. Elena met her at the hospital one afternoon, bringing paperwork Nora said might help with emergency aid. Milo's mother sat in a chair, still pale, still tired, eyes sharp with protective fear. "Elena," she said quietly, "I'm grateful." Elena nodded. "I'm glad Milo found you," Elena said. Milo's mother's lips tightened. "That's why I need to say something," she continued. Elena felt her stomach tighten. Milo's mother looked at her carefully. "Please don't make my child a project," she said softly, firmly. "He's not a headline. He's not a feel-good story. He's my son." Elena flinched, shame prickling. "I wouldn't," Elena started. Milo's mother lifted a hand. "I'm not accusing you of being cruel," she said. "But I've seen powerful people help and then disappear when it stops feeling noble. Milo can't take that kind of break again." Elena swallowed hard. Milo stood near the door, listening, eyes sharp. Elena nodded slowly. "You're right," she said. "Thank you for saying it." Milo's mother's gaze didn't soften much. "If you're going to be here," she said, "be here properly, through Nora, with boundaries, and don't promise him things you can't guarantee." Elena's throat tightened. "Okay," she whispered. "I will." That was the rule, and Elena understood it. But understanding is not the same as obeying when fear hits you. The mistake came 2 days later. Elena walked into her office to find Caleb waiting with a grim expression. "The board moved the vote up," he said. "Tonight, they want you to step down." Elena felt her chest tighten like a fist. She tried to breathe. "They can't," she whispered. "They can," Caleb said quietly. "And they will, unless you give them something. A show of focus. A show of control." Elena's stomach twisted. Control. The word tasted like old habits. Elena thought of Milo's mother's warning. Don't make him a project. Don't promise what you can't guarantee. Elena thought of Milo looking up at her with those wet eyes, asking if she'd show up. And the fear inside Elena did something dangerous. It tried to solve everything at once. That afternoon, Elena drove to the temporary home without telling Nora first. She told herself it was urgency. She told herself it was love. But underneath, it was panic, the kind that wants to grab and hold so nothing can be taken away. Milo opened the door and blinked, surprised. "You're early," he said. Elena's voice came fast. "Pack a bag," she said. "You're coming with me." Milo's face changed instantly. "What?" he asked, stepping back. Elena tried to soften her tone. "Just for a little while," she said. "Somewhere safe. Somewhere better than this. I have rooms. I can." Milo's eyes narrowed. "Did Nora say?" he asked. Elena hesitated. That hesitation was enough. Milo's face hardened. "You didn't tell her," he said, voice sharp. Elena swallowed. "I was going to," she said quickly. But you wanted to decide." Milo snapped. fear rising like heat. You wanted to take me. Elena flinched. No, she said. I don't want you moved around. I don't want you hurt again. Milo backed away, shoulders tense, ready to run. You're doing the thing, he said, voice shaking. The grown-up thing. The control thing. Elena's chest tightened. Milo, she whispered, trying to reach him with her voice. Milo's eyes flashed with betrayal. You promised you wouldn't decide without me, he said. You promised. Elena felt tears sting again, but she forced her voice steady. I'm scared, she admitted. Okay, I'm scared I'll lose you. I'm scared everything will. Milo cut her off, voice trembling with anger. You're not the one who lost an apartment to fire, he said. You're not the one who slept outside. You're not the one who thought your mom was dead. Elena froze, stunned into silence by the raw truth. Milo's eyes filled, but he didn't let the tears fall. He whispered, Don't use me because you're scared. Then he turned and bolted past her. Elena spun, heart slamming. Milo, she called. But Milo was fast and desperate. He ran down the hallway, out the building, into the street like fear had given him wings. Elena chased him, but she was in heels, in a coat too heavy, in a life that had never trained her to run after someone who didn't want to be caught. By the time she reached the corner, Milo was gone. Elena stood on the sidewalk, breath ragged, panic clawing up her throat, and suddenly she understood something that made her knees go weak. The hug had been easy. The hard part was everything after. Elena called Nora immediately. Nora's voice was tight with controlled anger. Elena, she said, what did you do? Elena's throat burned. I made a mistake, she whispered. I tried to take him. He ran. Nora exhaled sharply. You crossed the boundary, she said, voice firm. You scared him. Elena's eyes flooded. I know, she said. Tell me what to do. Nora's voice stayed steady. You don't chase him alone, she said. You don't make it worse. We follow protocol. We search likely places. We keep your panic out of his face. Elena swallowed hard. Likely places, Elena repeated, mind racing. Then she remembered Milo's voice from that first night. Bakery vents, quiet corners, places where nobody cares if you exist. And she remembered the building that burned. Elena's stomach dropped. She drove there. Not with sirens. Not with a crowd. Not with shouting. She parked and stepped out into the cold air, heart pounding. The burned building stood dark and sealed, like a mouth that refused to speak. Elena walked slowly, scanning, and then she saw him. Milo sat on the curb across the street. Hoodie pulled up, backpack clutched to his chest, eyes fixed on the boarded windows like he was waiting for the building to apologize. Elena stopped a few steps away. She didn't rush. She didn't call his name like a command. She stood there and let her breathing settle. Milo didn't look at her. His voice came out low and flat. You came, he said. Elena swallowed hard. Yes, she whispered. Milo's jaw tightened. You weren't supposed to, he muttered. Elena felt tears sting. I'm sorry, she said softly. I scared you. Milo's shoulders rose. You try to take me, he said, voice shaking. Like everyone else. Like I'm a problem to move. Elena knelt slowly, keeping distance. I did, she admitted. And it was wrong. Milo finally looked at her, eyes bright with anger and hurt. Why? He demanded. Elena's voice cracked. Because I panicked, she said. Because I thought if I held tight enough, nothing could fall apart. Milo's lips trembled. Things fall apart anyway, he whispered. Elena nodded, tears spilling. Yes, she said. They do. Milo's hands clenched in his sleeves. So why make promises, he whispered. Why hug me and act like you're different if you're just the same? Elena felt the question slice through her. She took a slow breath, forcing honesty without drama. I don't want to be the same, she said. But wanting isn't enough. I have to learn how to respect you. How to not use you to make myself feel better. Milo stared at her, breathing hard. Elena continued, voice low, steady. You set a rule, she said. You said don't decide without you. and I broke it. I'm sorry." Milo's eyes filled, but he still didn't cry. "You're a millionaire," he whispered, voice bitter. "People listen to you. You could just make things happen." Elena's throat tightened. "I can make some things happen," she admitted. "But I can't buy trust. And I can't buy your safety in a way that doesn't hurt you later." Milo's jaw clenched. "So what now?" he whispered. Elena swallowed hard. "Now I do the hard thing," she said. "I step back. I let Nora lead. I stop trying to grab control. And I keep showing up in the right way, not the loud way." Milo stared at her for a long moment. Then he whispered, "People say sorry and then do it again." Elena nodded. "I know," she said. "So don't believe my words. Watch my actions." Milo's breathing slowed slightly. Elena didn't reach for him. She just sat on the curb a few feet away, letting silence do its work. After a while, Milo's voice came out small. "I thought you were going to leave," he admitted. Elena's throat tightened. "I wanted to," she confessed softly. "Not because of you. Because of shame. Shame makes people run too." Milo blinked at that, surprised. Elena wiped her face with her sleeve, not caring anymore. "But I didn't," she said. "I stayed. And I'm here." Milo looked down at his shoes, then whispered, "My mom is going to be mad." Elena nodded. "She might be," she said. "And she has the right. But we'll do it properly now." Milo's voice trembled. "Are you going to tell Nora?" he asked. Elena nodded. "Yes," she said. "And I'll take whatever she says. Because she's trying to protect you." Milo stared at her for a long beat. Then he whispered, "Okay." Elena exhaled slowly, relief and pain mixing. Nora arrived with calm urgency, speaking to Milo first, not Elena, reinforcing that Milo had agency. Milo went back with Nora. Elena didn't follow into every conversation. She didn't demand. She waited. That was her growth. It wasn't glamorous. It was humiliating in a quiet way, because it meant admitting she couldn't control the outcome. Over the next weeks, Elena changed in small, difficult steps. She stopped showing up unannounced. She asked permission before giving anything. She learned to listen without filling silence with solutions. She attended meetings she hated with people she couldn't impress, caseworkers, housing coordinators, aid office staff, without flashing her status to bulldoze them. Sometimes she failed. She'd get impatient. She'd try to speed things up. Nora would look at her and say quietly, "Elena, slow down. This isn't your boardroom." And Elena would swallow her pride and slow down. Milo noticed. He didn't thank her with big words. He tested her. He'd show up late to a meeting and see if she got angry. He'd say no to a jacket and see if she pushed it anyway. He'd get quiet and see if she tried to force him to talk. And little by little, Elena passed the tests, not perfectly, but consistently enough that Milo's shoulders stopped living up near his ears. Milo's mother also watched Elena guarded. One day in a clinic office, while Milo sat filling out a school form with Nora, Milo's mother turned to Elena and said softly, "Why are you still here?" Elena swallowed, then answered honestly, "Because he hugged me when I was falling apart," she said. "And because I don't want to be the kind of person who only helps when it makes me look good." Milo's mother studied her, tired eyes sharp. "It will get hard," she warned. "It won't stay dramatic like the first day. It will be paperwork and waiting and disappointment." Elena nodded. "I know," she said. "I'm still here." Milo's mother's gaze softened just a fraction. "Then be careful," she said quietly. "He's been burned already." Elena's throat tightened. "I will," she promised. Time passed. Emergency housing came through. Temporary, small, but safe. Milo and his mother moved into a clean apartment with second-hand furniture and donated dishes. Milo hated the silence at first. He slept in his shoes again the first night, like he didn't trust the roof to stay. Elena didn't barge into their new life. She helped through Nora, groceries, school enrollment, replacing documents, small things done the right way. And slowly, Milo started looking like a kid again in tiny flashes. He argued about homework. He laughed once at a silly dog video. He got embarrassed when Elena showed up to one school meeting because he didn't want people staring. "You don't have to come," he told her, voice gruff. Elena smiled gently. "You're right," she said. "I don't have to. Do you want me to?" Milo hesitated, then muttered, "Yeah, but don't talk too much." Elena nodded. "Deal," she said. One evening, months later, Elena found herself back at her office after a brutal day. The board pressure hadn't vanished. People still watched her for weakness. But Elena was different now. She didn't run to the window to stare at the city like it was something she had to conquer. She sat in her chair and let herself feel tired without turning it into shame. Her phone buzzed. A message from Nora. Milo's mom had a follow-up appointment. Milo wanted Elena to come if she could. Elena stared at the message. She could have said no. She had meetings. She had a reputation. But she had learned that presence was the real currency. She typed back, "I'll be there." The next day, Elena sat in a clinic waiting room. Plain chairs, chipped paint, posters peeling at the corners. Milo sat beside her, bouncing his knee. He glanced at her and said, almost accusing, "You're wearing normal clothes." Elena blinked. "Is that bad?" she asked. Milo shrugged. "It's weird," he admitted. "You look like a person." Elena let out a soft laugh. "I am a person," she said. Milo frowned thoughtfully. "Yeah," he muttered. "But you didn't used to act like one." Elena felt the truth of it and didn't argue. While Milo's mother went back with the nurse, Milo stayed with Elena. He stared at the floor for a long moment, then asked quietly, "Are you still sad?" Elena swallowed. "Sometimes," she admitted. Milo nodded slowly. "Me too," he said. Elena looked at him. "Even with your mom safe?" she asked gently. Milo's eyes tightened. "Safe isn't the same as okay," he whispered. Elena's chest tightened. Milo blinked fast, then asked, "Do you remember the first day?" Elena's throat burned. "Yes," she whispered. Milo looked at her, eyes serious. "You were crying," he said, "and I asked if I could hug you, and you said yes." Elena nodded. Milo's voice turned quieter. "That was the first time I hugged a stranger," he admitted. "I don't do that." Elena felt her eyes sting. "Why did you?" she asked. Milo stared at the wall, thinking. "Because you looked like nobody was coming," he said. "And I know what that feels like." Elena swallowed hard. Milo finally looked at her. "Can I hug you again?" he asked. Elena nodded, voice thick. "Yes," she said. This hug was different from first. No smoke panic. No sidewalk collapse. Just a boy and a woman holding each other in a plain waiting room, both learning that belonging wasn't something you earned with money or medals. Milo pulled back and looked at her with a small, serious expression. "You didn't disappear," he said. Elena's throat tightened. "No," she whispered. "I didn't." Milo nodded once, satisfied, then added, almost like an afterthought that still hit like thunder, "My mom says you were crying because you forgot how to let people help you," he said. Elena blinked, stunned. "She said that?" Elena asked. Milo shrugged. "She said some people get so good at surviving alone, they don't know how to be held," he muttered, "and that you're trying." Elena's eyes burned, but she smiled softly. "I am," she whispered. When Milo's mother returned, tired but smiling faintly, she looked at Elena and nodded, just once, a small gesture that said something big. Not trust yet, but recognition. Outside, the city kept moving. The noise didn't stop. The world didn't suddenly become kind. But Elena had learned to stop dropping the important things, not keys, not secrets, not magic objects. The important thing was simpler. Show up. Ask permission. Stay. And when Milo stepped out beside her under the open sky, he tugged her sleeve gently and said, like it was the most normal thing in the world, "Can we get something warm to drink?" Elena looked at him, feeling that quiet, gentle exhale inside her chest, the kind you feel when you realize you're not alone in the same way anymore. "Yes," she said. "Let's get something warm."